Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. It's 8 o'clock, and I'm going to start the presentation on differentiating Ectopy from Aberrancy. My name is Laura Gasparis von Frolio. I've been a nurse for 48 years. I know I don't look that old, but yeah, I'm almost 70. So in order to differentiate Ectopy, which is a PVC, you have to know the configuration. And in order to differentiate Ectopy from Aberrancy, you have to know the configuration of Aberrancy. Now, an Ectopy is a PVC, whereas Aberrancy is a beat that starts in the atrium, and when it travels down to the ventricles, one of your bundles is tied. If the right bundle is tied, the configuration will be that of a right bundle branch block. And if the left bundle is tired, the configuration will be that of a left bundle branch block. So in order to differentiate Ectopy from Aberrancy, or in order to differentiate SVT with a block from VTAC, we have to know the configurations. And so that's what I'm going to teach you right now. I apologize for the primitive way of teaching using paper, but Facebook doesn't allow you to share a PowerPoint presentation on their live video. So that's why we're going a little primitive here. So what I want to teach you is I am going to teach you the configuration of a right bundle branch block and why it looks like that. I'm going to show you the configuration of a left bundle branch block and why it looks like that. I'm going to show you what a PVC from the left ventricle looks like. And I'm going to show you a PVC from the right ventricle and what that looks like. It's very important to remember that whenever you are differentiating Ectopy from Aberrancy, you have to be in V1 or MCL1. You can never be in any other lead. You must be in V1 or MCL1 or even a Lewis lead. And people say, what's a Lewis lead? Let me just move this out of the way. A Lewis lead is something that you would use if you only had a 3-sticky system. When you have a 3-sticky system, sticky, you can only do lead 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so for example, in our trauma room, we only have a 3-sticky system. Every other room has a 5-sticky system. But in the trauma room, we have a 3-sticky system. So if I have a cardiac patient and there's no beds available except in the trauma room, we put the cardiac patient in the trauma room, but there's only a 3-sticky system. So it's very important for me to monitor him in V1 or MCL1, but I can't because there's only a 3-sticky system. So I put him in what's called a Lewis lead, which gives you the same configuration as a V1 or an MCL1 lead. And here's what I do. If the monitor is in lead 2, that means that this sticky is negative and this sticky, can't see, this sticky is positive. So the sticky on the right arm is negative. The sticky on the left leg, which is really your abdomen, is positive. The sticky on the left arm is, just a decoration, or they call it a gram. Okay, so if someone's in lead 2, the sticky on the right arm is negative. The sticky on the left leg is positive. I take the negative sticky, I put it on the sternum. I take the positive sticky, which is on the left leg or the left abdomen, and I put it right under it. So now I have 2 stickies on my sternum. I have the negative and the positive. So if you have a 3-sticky system, the sticky on the right arm is negative, the sticky on the left leg is positive. I take the negative sticky, I put it on the sternum. I take the positive sticky, I put it on the sternum. I now have 2 stickies on my sternum, negative, positive. And this is a Lewis lead. It gives you the same configuration as a V1 or an MCL1 lead. Okay, so in order to differentiate Ectopy from Aberrancy, you have to be in V1, MCL1, or Lewis lead. You cannot look at lead 2. So let me go forward here, move this all around, and show you what a right bundle branch block looks like. Okay, here we go. When you have a right bundle branch block, it means that your right bundle is blocked. Okay, so that's pretty easy. So now you know the impulses always go down the left bundle first. But if it's blocked, it can't do that. Oh, well, I'm sorry. It always goes down the left bundle first. So the right bundle's blocked. So the impulses always go down the left bundle first. I never knew that. I always thought they go down both bundles at the same time, but apparently they don't. It goes down the left bundle first. Then it will go across the anterior wall and the septum in this direction towards the positive sticky. You're in V1, MCL1, or Lewis lead because you would never be in any other lead. And since the impulses are traveling in this direction, your complex begins to go up because any electricity going towards a positive sticky will be going up. When these guys cross over, they usually jump on the right bundle, but it's blocked. So when they cross over the anterior septal wall, they're like, hey, what are we going to do now? Oh, I don't know. We got to go from cell to cell to let everyone know we're here. So that's what they do. They go from cell to cell. Hey, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here. Pretty soon we're going to contract. As they're traveling in this direction towards the positive sticky, the complex goes up. The other impulses are going down the left bundle through the Purkinje fibers and then begin to depolarize the left ventricle in this direction away from the positive sticky, and that's why it goes down. Then when all these go across the right ventricle and the right ventricle contracts, since I'm going towards the positive sticky, it goes up. So what you have here is a little r followed by a big R. This little r represents the electricity going across the anterior and septal wall. This r is the impulses going across the right ventricle. So a right bundle branch block will take on this configuration where you have a little r followed by a big R. And that's what a right bundle branch block looks like. Let me show you some 12 leads. This is a right bundle branch block. You see, we're looking at V1. We have a little r followed by a bigger R. Let me show you more. This is a right bundle branch block. Let me get closer here. This is a right bundle branch block. You see, we have a little r followed by a big R. And of course, we're in V1. We would never be in lead 2 or any other lead because, you know, this doesn't even look like anything's wrong with the guy, right? So you look at V1, you got a little r followed by a big R. Let me show you another right bundle branch block. V1 or MCL1 or Lewis lead, we got a little r followed by a big R. This is a right bundle branch block. Look at lead 2, right? It's not wide, right? You would never know he has a right bundle branch block by looking at lead 2. Let me show you more right bundle branch blocks. Okay, there's a 12 lead. Here we go. V1, right? V1. And what we have is a little r followed by a big R, right? Little r followed by a big R. This is a right bundle branch block. Look at lead 2. It's small, so someone might change the knob and put it in lead 1. You would never know he has a bundle branch block. Your QRSs are not wide with a right bundle branch block in your limb leads and some of your precordial leads. Here's a right bundle branch block. Of course, we're in V1. You see, you have a little r followed by a big R. That's a right bundle branch block. You would never know that by looking at lead 2 or 3 or AVF. I mean, the fact that it's primarily negative in 2, 3, and AVF means he has a left axis deviation, but what else does he have here? There's a left axis deviation, and we have a left anterior hemiblock as well. But anyway, right now, he's got a right bundle branch block. Let me show you more. This is a right bundle branch block. We look at V1. You see in V1, you have a little r followed by a big R. See, little mountain followed by a big mountain. Little r followed by a big R. This is a right bundle branch block. And again, you look in V1, MCL1, or Lewis lead. Let me show you more. I think I have more. This is a right bundle branch block. We look at V1. You notice here's a P wave, little r followed by a big R. Right bundle branch block. And when people have an aberrantly conducted beat, and the beat is aberrantly conducted because the right bundle is tired, it'll take on this configuration, which isn't a big to-do. Because when an aberrantly conducted beat you still have a pulse. So not a big deal. Let me show you more. When someone has an aberrantly conducted beat, it can be aberrantly conducted because the right bundle is tired. This is a P wave, a QRS, and a T. P wave, QRS, and a T. So we do have a PAC, right? Matter of fact, here's a normal beat with a PAC. We're in V1 now. So we have atrial bigeminy. Normal beat, PAC. Normal beat, premature atrial contraction. Normal beat, right? P, QRS, and a T. And then he does that. Some people say, oh, we had a PVC. No, he didn't. He had an aberrantly conducted beat that got aberrantly conducted because the right bundle was tired. How do I know? We have a little r followed by a big R. This is an aberrantly conducted beat that got aberrantly conducted because the right bundle was tired. He has a pulse, no need to worry. This is atrial bigeminy. Let me show you, I think I might have a few more. Yes, we do. Here we go. A lot of people say, oh, he's throwing PVCs. No, he's not. He's not. This is what is he in? He's an AFib. Okay. He's an AFib, and then he's doing these things. These are not PVCs. How do I know? You have little r followed by a big R. You have a little r followed by a big R. You have a little r followed by a big R. These are aberrantly conducted beats that got aberrantly conducted because the right bundle was tired. They call this Ashman's phenomena. Okay, here we go. We're looking at MCL1, right? Let me get this close to you here. We're looking at MCL1 or V1, right? And this is MCL6 or V6. And people say, you know, what is it? Is it VTAC? Now, most people, if they wheel someone into the ER, if EMS brought someone into the ER and you took a look at the monitor and you saw that they were doing this, most people would jump up and think it's an emergency. I mean, the guy is in SVT, but it's not VTAC. Why isn't this VTAC? For two reasons. Reason number one, we have little r followed by a big R. Little r followed by a big R. Little r followed by a big R. This is a right bundle branch block. This is SVT with a right bundle branch block. It's also not VTAC because we're up in V6. MCL6 or V6, same thing. Whenever you're up in V6, it cannot be VTAC. VTAC is down in V6. You're down in V6, you're dead. The fact that you're up in V6, it can't be VTAC. It's SVT with a block. SVT with a right bundle branch block. That's what that is. Now, let me show you what a PVC from the left ventricle looks like. When you have a PVC, you have an irritable cell somewhere in your ventricle, and in this case, it's the left ventricle. This irritable cell fires an electrical impulse. That electrical impulse will travel through the cells in this direction. If I'm going in this direction, I'm going towards the positive sticky, so my complex is going to be going up. Some of the electricity will go in that direction, just a little bit going in that direction, away from the positive sticky, the complex is going to go down. But most of the electricity was in this direction, towards the positive sticky, and that's why it's primarily an upright complex. You see, when you have a PVC from the left ventricle, you get a big mountain. When you have big mountain, you have big problem. Big mountain, big problem. Let me show you PVCs from the left ventricle. Okay, P wave, QRST, P, QRST, P, QRST, and he does this. This is a PVC. It's a PVC from the left ventricle. How do I know? We have big mountain. When you have big mountain, you have big problem. Here we have big mountain, you have big problem. These are PVCs from the left ventricle. So if you want to be fancy at work, you could just, yell out, oh, my patient's having a PVC from the left ventricle, or we're having left ventricular ectopy. So people are impressed with that. Let me show you more what a PVC from the left ventricle looks like. Okay? Normal beat, P wave, QRST. And then we have this beat. This is a PVC from the left ventricle. How do I know? We have big mountain. Then you have a little mountain. You have big mountain, you have big problem. So this is ventricular bigeminy. Normal beat, PVC from the left ventricle. PVC from the left ventricle, PVC from the left ventricle. P, QRST, and then we start doing this shenanigans here. This is all PVCs from the left ventricle. How do we know? We have big mountain. You have big mountain, you have big problem. You see, big mountain, big problem. This is ventricular bigeminy. These couplets, that's what we're having. I'm sorry, we're having couplets. I remember the history on this. This guy is ditch toxic. And these were perfusing, not both of them, but one of them was perfusing. So you really wouldn't want to knock these out. Because then if you knock these out, his heart rate goes down to, I don't know, like 30, and then his eyeballs go behind his head. Now, I'm looking at this, right? P wave, QRST. P, QRST. We have a pause, then P, QRST, and then we do this. Some people call that a PVC. It's not a PVC. They're like, oh, yes, it is, Gasparis. You're wrong. It's a PVC. The T wave is opposite. We have a compensatory pause. It's not a PVC. It's a PAC that got aberrantly conducted. How do I know? We have little mountain. You have little mountain. You have little problem. This is that atrial bigeminy again. Atrial bigeminy, normal beat, PAC, normal beat, PAC, that got aberrantly conducted because the right bundle was tired. Look, V6. You're down to V6, you're dead. You're down to V6, you're dead. Anyway, we look at V1 or MCL1, right? V1, MCL1. And what do you see? You have big mountain. You have big mountain. You have big problem. This is a PVC from the left ventricle. Oh, we're having left ventricular ectopy. PVC, I'm sorry, yes, PVC from the left ventricle. This is VTAC. Okay, and looking at this. PQRST, PQRST, P, and then we have a little r followed by a big R. See, little r followed by a big R. Which is an aberrantly conducted beat. This is not a PVC. It's an aberrantly conducted beat that got aberrantly conducted because the right bundle was tired. Well, right off the bat, you're down to V6, you're dead. Okay? All right. But here we go. We look at V1, because you never look at any other lead, and we see we have big mountain. You have big mountain and then a little mountain, right? Big mountain and a little mountain. You have big mountain, you have big problem. That's a PVC from the left ventricle. We have the attack. That's what we have. Now I want to show you what a left bundle branch block looks like. Because if someone has an aberrantly conducted beat, and that beat is aberrantly conducted because your left bundle is tied, it will take on a certain configuration. And it'll look really ugly, and people think it's PVCs, but it's not. Let me show you what a left bundle branch block looks like. So if someone has an aberrantly conducted beat that got aberrantly conducted because the left bundle was tied, it will take on the following configuration. Here we go. Whenever you have a left bundle branch block, your left bundle is blocked. Okay, so the impulses usually go down the left bundle, but they can't because it's blocked. So some of the impulses start to go down, but since they see the blockage, they go across and they jump on the right bundle. When some of them go this direction, they go towards the positive sticky, that's why it goes up a little bit. The impulses continue down the right bundle through the Purkinje fibers and then depolarize the right ventricle in this direction, away from the positive sticky. That's why it goes down. And then your right ventricle contracts. And then the impulses continue through the left ventricle, going from cell to cell, taking a very long time in this direction, away from the positive sticky, and that's why it continues to be negative. So when you have a left bundle branch block, your right ventricle contracts, and then your left ventricle contracts. And since your stylet can't do two things at once, you just have the outline, and that's why you have a wide complex. Matter of fact, with a left bundle branch block, all your complexes will be wide in your EKG. Whereas with a right bundle branch block, your limb leads are not wide. The complexes are not wide. Let me show you a left bundle branch block. Let's look at some EKGs. Again, very wide and very narrow R wave. 20% of the people with a left bundle branch block will not have that R wave, but the 80% that do, it's a very narrow R wave. Let me show you lead 2. This is the famous lead 2. Now, not for nothing, when you look at this looks like some kind of an emergency. I know if EMS wheels someone into the ER, hooked up to a life pack showing this, people would get up. And not that you shouldn't get up, you should, but it's not what you think it is. It's not VTAC. It looks like VTAC, but it's not. Let me show you the 12 lead. Look at V6. We're going up in V6, so it cannot be VTAC. All my complexes are wide, which is what you would see with VTAC, but you also see wide complexes whenever you have a left bundle branch block. So all my complexes are wide. I'm up in V6 the way I'm supposed to be. I'm down in AVR the way I'm supposed to be. And I have a very narrow R wave. And V2 is probably one of the better leads to look at for the R wave with a left bundle branch block. Sometimes you don't see it in V1. So I have a very narrow R wave in V2. All my complexes are wide. I'm up in V6 the way I'm supposed to be. Down in AVR the way I'm supposed to be. This is a left bundle branch block. So when you see this in lead 2, this is SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, with a left bundle branch block. It is not VTAC. That's why you don't want to look at lead 2. Everything looks like, VTAC in lead 2. This is a left bundle branch block. All my complexes are wide. All my QRSs are very wide. I'm up in V6 the way I'm supposed to be. Down in AVR the way I'm supposed to be. And I have a very narrow R wave in V2. So this is just a plain old left bundle branch block. All my complexes are wide. Look at lead 2. Now, if someone was doing this, right? Let's say they had a heart rate of 60 doing this. You know how many people would call that, oh, agonal. He's agonal. No, he's got a left bundle branch block. All my complexes are wide. I'm up in V6 the way I'm supposed to be. Down in AVR the way I'm supposed to be. Very narrow R wave in V2. So this is just a plain old left bundle branch block. Here we go. All my complexes are wide, right? All my complexes are wide, okay? I'm up in V6 the way I'm supposed to be. I'm down in AVR the way I'm supposed to be. And I have a very narrow R wave in V2. So this is just a plain old left bundle branch block. And here it says in the Framingham study, associated EKG findings such as an inverted T wave in V6 correlates with the prevalence of systemic hypertension or cardiomegaly or coronary heart disease and congestive heart failure. So when you're looking at V6, if you have an inverted T wave, it's usually not a good sign. Usually means you have heart disease, but then again, so does a left bundle branch block, doesn't it now? Here you go. All my complexes are wide. I'm up in V6 the way I'm supposed to be. I'm down in AVR the way I'm supposed to be. Very narrow R wave in V2. This is just a plain old left bundle branch block. So when someone has an aberrantly conducted beat, it is going to take on this configuration. And of course, if you want to look at lead 2, it'll look like this, and everyone will call it a PVC. Here we go. All my complexes are wide, right? Very wide complexes, very wide, wide, wide. But I'm up in V6 the way I'm supposed to be. Down in AVR the way I'm supposed to be. Very narrow R wave in V2. So this is just a plain old left bundle branch block. In looking at this EKG, all my complexes are wide, right? I'm up in V6 the way I'm supposed to be. Down in AVR the way I'm supposed to be. Very narrow R wave in V2. So this is just a plain old left bundle branch block. Now I want to show you what a PVC from the right ventricle looks like. It's fairly rare. Usually when you see it, someone's probably putting in a swan, irritating the right ventricle. But let me show you. It's pretty rare, PVCs in the right ventricle. When you have a PVC in the right ventricle, you have some kind of irritable cell in your right ventricle that fires an electrical impulse. This electrical impulse will go across, right, in this direction towards the positive sticky. It'll take a long time, so you're going to get a wide R wave. But most of the electricity will go in this direction, away from the positive sticky, and that's why it's down. When you have a PVC from the right ventricle, it really looks just like what a left bundle branch block looks like in V1 or V2. The only difference is the width of the R wave. That's the only difference, the width of the R wave. So to differentiate a PVC from the right ventricle and a left bundle branch block in V1 or MCL1 or Lewis lead or V2, it's the width of the R wave is very wide when you have a PVC from the right ventricle. And then, of course, you're going to not be up in V6. With a left bundle branch block, you're up in V6. With any PVCs, you're down in V6. So these are rare, so let me just show you. P wave, QRS, T, P wave, QRS, T. And, you know, some people look at this and they call it, oh, he's having a fusion beat. He's having a fusion beat. Where some people say, you know, he's changing his bundle, right? That's a lot of doctors say, oh, he's changing his bundle. You're like, yeah, change your profession. You save more lives that way. This is a PVC, right? This is a PVC from the right ventricle, right? A lot of people say, oh, change your bundles, change your bundle. No, he's not. It's a PVC. See, very wide R wave, narrow R wave, wide R wave. This is a PVC from the right ventricle. And I think I have one more. These are hard to come by, PVCs from right ventricle. You know, I don't know. I've always called when I look at this, I call this multifocal atrial tachycardia. Why? Because it means I can't find P waves all the time. Like sometimes, like I think this is a P wave. Maybe this is one. Maybe that's one. Then, you know, maybe, oh, that's one over there, maybe. You know, maybe that's one. So whenever I start doing that, I just call it multifocal atrial tachycardia. You can't go wrong. And then all of a sudden he does this. You know, so some people say, oh, he changed his bundle. No, he didn't change his bundle. He went into VTAC. Look at him. See the R wave is very narrow R wave, narrow, and then it got wide. The R wave got wide. The R wave is wide. The R wave is wide. So he went into VTAC from the right ventricular tachycardia. Of course, if I had a 12 lead on this, I'd show you in V6, it'd go down, right? Down in V6, you're dead. So, just to review, in order to differentiate ectopy from aberrancy, you have to know the configuration of a right bundle branch block because when you have an aberrantly conducted beat, it could be aberrantly conducted because the right bundle is tired, and it will take on this configuration. Little mountain, little problem. You could have a PVC from the left ventricle. When you have a PVC from the left ventricle, in V1, MCL1, or Lewis lead, it'll take on this configuration. You have big mountain. When you have big mountain, you have big problem. PVC, left ventricle. If someone has an aberrantly conducted beat that got aberrantly conducted because the left bundle was tired, it'll take on this configuration. Well, the complex is going to be wide. You're up in V6, you're down in AVR, and you'll notice in V2 especially, you have a very narrow R wave. That's a left bundle branch block. So when someone has an aberrantly conducted beat that got aberrantly conducted because the left bundle was tired, you will see this configuration. And then when someone has a PVC from the right ventricle, which is rare, it looks just like a left bundle branch block, but the only difference is the width of the R wave. And of course, you'll be down in V6. And you may be dead. You may not be dead, but okay. So these are the configurations that we have to know. Right bundle branch block, little mountain, little problem. PVC from the left ventricle, big mountain, big problem. Someone has an aberrantly conducted beat that got aberrantly conducted because the left bundle was tired, or your complexes are wide. You're up in V6, down in AVR, and you have a very narrow R wave, and usually V2 is the best lead to look at that. And if someone has a PVC from the right ventricle, you'll notice there's a very wide R wave in V1, or you can also look at V2. And this is just a little bit about treatment. Now, this is wide complex tachycardia, unknown type. Well, this would not be us because we would know what it is. We would know. We would know whether it's SVT with a block or if it's VTAC from the right or left ventricle. But if someone does not know what this wide complex tachycardia is, if you know that the patient has a good cardiac function, you may just want to see him cardioverted or maybe give amiodarone or procainamide. If you know the patient, you know the history, and you know that he has a decrease in the ejection fraction or a bad history of congestive heart failure, then you just want to either cardiovert or give amiodarone. Please note, no lidocaine, verapamil, adenosine for wide complex tachycardia of unknown type. And for you, it would never be unknown type because you now know how to differentiate wide complex tachycardia. Because that wide complex tachycardia can either be SVT with a right bundle branch block, where you'll see little mountain, little problem, or it could be SVT with a left bundle branch block, where you'll look at V1 and it's a very narrow R wave, or V2, and of course you're up in V6, or it could be VTAC from the left ventricle or VTAC from the right ventricle. So for you, you would never use the wording of unknown type, because now you know if it's wide complex tachycardia, you're able to differentiate whether it's Aberrancy or is it Ectopy. That is, is the fast rhythm because you have a right bundle branch block or because you have a left bundle branch block, or is it PVCs from the left ventricle or PVCs from the right ventricle? And so now I'll take some questions. Thank you. God bless America. Okay. And so let me just see if there's any questions here. I could use a few of her brain cells. Oh, no, they're old. My brain cells are old. They're almost 70 years old, these brain cells. Okay, thank you. Loving it. Okay. What else? Anybody got a question? Any questions? No? Well, you can always email me if you have a question, all right? My email is afeduprn, get it? afeduprn, hello, at AOL.com. This is my website. So, email me if you have a question. And And that's it. So it's been fun. And I apologize for the primitive way of teaching, but I couldn't share my PowerPoint. All right. So good luck to all of you. And do contact me if you have any questions. All right. Bye.